My name is Kevin Ristow. I'm one of the vice presidents here at North American. I've been here, July will be 11 years actually, with North American. And over that time, I've seen this company grow like crazy. I've always liked Medicare, but my biggest thing is life insurance. I believe that it doesn't matter what insurance we do over or under 65, people may or may not use all those things. One thing we know 100% for sure, people are always, unfortunately, all of us, one day we're going to use life insurance. So the message on this call every week is going to be just ask, bring it up every single time. I mean, don't ever, probably bad English, but don't ever not offer life insurance, because I have had so many people call me over the years and say, hey, that claim, I had to file a claim, unfortunately, but it did work out. I appreciate you bringing that up. But I see so many trainings talking about stacking and everything. And one of the things most of them never add is life insurance. So whether you plan on making life insurance your primary source of income, another source of income to work with your current block of business or whatever, just remember life insurance is essential to any planning that or any coverage that a person has. And you'll hear me say that over and over again. So let's move on. Emily, would you like to introduce yourself, where you're from and what you're looking to get out of this call, how we can help?
Well, sure. I'm in Arizona, the Phoenix Valley, and I'm still getting on board with contracting and working on that. So it's not completed yet. And I'm just, tips. You don't know what you don't know. So I come here open-minded, take it all in. So that's kind of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because I was going to bring that up about the contracts and the carriers and appointments. I mean, there's certain ones, in my opinion, we should have. So we'll talk more about that as we go on. So, Samuel, are you on? Would you like to introduce yourself, where you're from?
Sure, yeah. I'm Samuel. I'm from New York, and like Emily, I'm brand new here, so just trying to get this contract done and learn more about life insurance.
What part of New York?
Staten Island.
I'm from upstate, Albany,
Oh, okay, cool,
the
nice.
other part of New York.
The
So,
other part of New York.
yes. And what about David? David, are you on? You want to introduce yourself? Where you from? All right. What about GC?
Hi, my name's Gary. I'm from Alabama. I've been in the business for a number of years. So I told you how long, you know how old I am. Just looking for a good home. Been with a couple IMOs and not very happy with.
Well, welcome to the group, and I'm glad you actually brought that up. And roll tide. I got a good friend of mine from Alabama. A lot of good friends down south, SEC. So awesome. And yeah, I'm going to touch on that. I'm glad you brought that up. And then also Wanda. All right. Well, we have people on the.
I'm sorry, I had my
yes.
mic off.
Right.
I'm from Georgia. I work Georgia and Alabama. Well, I'm from Alabama and Georgia, but I work mostly Georgia.
Awesome. I used to run an area down south. I lived in Columbia, South Carolina. One of my favorite places was Savannah, Georgia, and I've actually been to the Masters in one of the practice rounds. And I'll tell you, when you're in Augusta, Georgia, you never in a million years would think that's where Augusta golf course is. Takes a while to figure out where it is. You'd never know that. But anyway, so everybody, welcome to the group, and I'm glad that Gary, let me just touch on something real quick. And I'm glad Gary brought this up. Because guys, we're all looking for a place where we fit in, where we belong. There's so many FMOs, IMOs. I mean, and what we want, well, at least what I was looking for, and I'm going on North American now for 11 years, is constant growth and opportunity for us at any pace you want. If you want to move up the ladder in a different position, leadership position or whatever with the company, you can. If you want to get into over 65 Medicare, final expense, things like that, you can. If you want to get under 65, whether it's short-term whether it's alternative health insurance, whether it's ACA, whether it's just ancillary products, doesn't matter. Cool thing about this FMO is they do all of that. We do all of that. We do individual, we do group, we do family. So there's, unless I'm missing something, there's really not anything that we don't offer in this group in one of the facets. We have, I don't know, 5 or 6 vice presidents, and each one runs a program. I mean, that's really what being a vice president is all about. It's just showing passion for the group that you're involved with and trying to help others succeed in it. So with that being said, Emily, you have worked with Lynn Tim, right?
Yes, that's right.
The famous Emily, and you've done very well in the pivot program. So can you kind of give us a little idea of how that started and worked out? Because guys, going forward, the life insurance and a lot of these other programs are going to kind of be built the way Pivot was. They structured a program and they've improved it over the past year, and it worked well enough to have these other programs kind of structured and modeled after that. So Emily, you want to tell us a little bit about your experience and how we can take advantage of it? I know that's short term and this is life, but how one can roll into the other just by habit, structure, stuff like that.
What area do you want me to speak about? Like, so my experience with short-term health was brand new. I started with the program in October of 23. So it was the first time ever for me. So, but I'm not sure what you want me to speak to.
No,
and I'm
no.
happy
Well,
with that.
well, that's exactly it, because we have people on this call. I've been in the insurance industry for 27 years and I've done all kinds of insurance. We have people on the call that kind of like you that are not maybe new to the business or new to life insurance. Now, when you came in, you were new to short term. So how did you end up succeeding in that? And then now you're adding a different part on. So how are they going to work together? And what were the keys for your success to begin with?
I would say key number one for me was I paid really close attention to Lynn Tim's training on how to quote. So I just modeled it. And I do have experience in selling remotely. That was actually how I started in the business. And I really enjoy it. I just love working with people. I think it's important in your success that you love what you do. If you don't enjoy it, you're wasting your time.
I absolutely agree. And Lynn and I actually pretty much started with the company same exact time. We've we've traveled this journey together. She really enjoys the short term. I really enjoy the life insurance. But again, it's just a perfect example, whether it's over or under 65, one can roll into the other. And I think, and I'm going to touch on a couple other things you just said, because I think that's important. Guys, whether you're just getting into this business or you've been in the insurance business for a while, if you have a book of business, regardless of what it is, it's a great way to transition into life insurance, because again, it doesn't matter if it's a newborn all the way up to, 80 years old, we say cradle to the grave. We can offer life insurance in every single possible situation year round. We're the only type of insurance in this company or in the industry that can say that. Some of them, obviously, if you're under 65, you can get that. If you're over 65, you can get that. But with life insurance, everybody can get it, regardless of what the health situation or any of those things. I know the geography is different for most of us on this call, but it doesn't matter. Everybody needs life insurance. So you'll constantly hear me say it and post it on our Facebook group. Just ask. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask, because you'd be amazed how many people don't have life insurance as part of their planning. You'd be amazed how many people. I have seniors all the time. I do a lot of senior independent living facilities because I enjoy Medicare. And, you go up to a senior and say, hey, how are you covered for life insurance, final expense? What's your plan there? Well, I got bad health. I won't be able to get anything. We have something. It doesn't matter whether a person's healthy or not. So let's kind of transition into that real quick. Someone had mentioned initially, one of the important things with any of the programs we're in is what carriers you have, what appointments you have, what contracts you have. And we have a great We have a great recruiting office with North America. We have a great contracting department. So with this program, we're going to really concentrate on simplified issue life insurance. What that means in a nutshell is there's no exams, there's no blood, there's no urine, you don't have to go through all of those things. It's just a series of questions. Depending on the carrier, which I'll touch base, it's an instant decision. By the time we're done with the call, we know whether or not the people are going to be approved, and then we can either continue with the sale or pivot to something else if they don't qualify. So just so you guys know, the three main ones, and of course, you can get as many as you want, but it's going to be Mutual of Omaha, it's going to be Americo, and it's going to be Gerber. And the reason I picked those three is excellent commissions. Depending on the type of coverage you sell, and we're really going to focus a lot on final expense. You get 115% of Mutual of Omaha. You get 6 months advance. So whether you're selling, again, life insurance primarily, or you're adding that on, that's a big part of the income stream. What is your goal? How many do you want to sell? Another thing is eventually, and we'll get there, I would suggest maybe add some non-res states. Every person on this call except New York, I have non-res licenses in all of those states. I have 30 different non-res states. Reason being is you never know when you're going to get a referral somewhere. So why not have the state where you can write the individual and offer them something versus having to refer it out to someone else? So there's some basic things if you want to be successful in this or any other type of insurance. You got to have the right contracts and carriers appointments. And then, of course, those carriers are going to determine the different types of coverage that we offer, which I'll go over real quick. Life insurance with this company, with this FMO, North American, it's the only program that offers such high commissions and advance. Now, you don't have to get advance if you don't want to, but we're offering 6 months advance. I kind of like that because you get a boost, and then right away you get a deposit usually within 48 hours. And on top of that, starting in the 7th through 12th month, then you start getting that as earned, and the more you write, they start adding together. This morning, I hadn't written a Mutual of Omaha policy in probably 2 weeks. I got a $930 deposit in my account because of what I've done in the past. You get renewals, so all those little things are important. Another thing we had talked about is, why are we doing this? This will probably be the last preachy call I have because going forward, we're going to have guests. So, what is your why? Like Emily was saying, why do you want to be here? Why do you want to be successful? Whatever it is, you got to be into it. You got to have passion for it. You got to enjoy what you do. You want to get off this call and jump right in to try to sell life insurance to someone to offer it. Procrastinating and putting it off and finding reasons that it's not going to work, it's not going to be an attribute to help you be successful with this company or with this industry. So life insurance is a big time way to make money. And just to kind of give you an idea, next week, I have an event. I won't be able to be on this call, but Andy Dasner, the president of our company, will be on the call. So Andy and I can shoot emails, and he's got a particular carrier and a particular product he's going to talk about. It's going to be a Mutual of Omaha product and a particular type of life insurance. After that, the week after that, I'll be back on the call, but I'm going to have a representative from Americo. He's going to be on the call, and he's going to be talking about how unique and different their final expense product is. So why we would want to offer that. So I would ask you guys to don't overwhelm yourself. I see a lot of new agents of people just getting in the industry. They get appointed and licensed with everyone under the sun, and then it's tough to manage your time and make your priorities to get everything done. I would suggest, kind of like Emily did, and like I did, you start with one thing, whether it's life, Medicare, short-term, doesn't matter what it is, and get good at that. Get comfortable with selling, get comfortable with that product. Start building a book of business. Then when you add life insurance or whatever else you add, they can work in conjunction with each other. One of the biggest concerns new agents have is how am I going to find prospects? How am I going to get people in front of me to build business? Well, I have some ideas, but before I share my ideas, and I'm at one of those right now, let's kind of go around a group a little bit and get some thoughts and ideas, questions. Why you again, not only why you want to do life insurance, what are some of your plans and what are some of your sources to get in front of new prospects. So, Amanda, are you on the? I see you're on the call. Amanda, would you mind sharing some thoughts and ideas? Great. What about Wanda? Same question. Now, a lot
Okay,
of
I
people.
had to unmute myself.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to
Um,
say a lot of people are muted, but that's okay. Go ahead, Wanda.
no, I'm not really a normal sales. Mine's mostly I take care of my 91-year-old mother. And so I don't go out. Most of mine is friends, and I stay between I do Medicare, all forms of Medicare. I do some under 65, and life insurance is one that I really, for some reason, my brain's not clicking. I've got several that I've got to get put together, so I'm going to be calling you before long.
I'm glad you brought up friends and family. I have a list of stuff I was going to share, but that was not on there. Unfortunately, lost both my parents in the last 12, 13 years, and I have 9 brothers and sisters. And we were kind of on the lower end of the income scale growing up. But we always had what we needed. And then when my parents passed away, we were extremely surprised and glad that regardless of how tough things got over the year, my mom had several life insurance policies, a 1,500 there, a 1,800 there. And both of their final expense, funerals, ceremony services were covered 100%. And as growing up, I never remember seeing my mom or dad talking to a life insurance agent, but that's kind of the point. Somewhere along the line, someone offered them something that was affordable. My mom had enough insight, I guess, to look down the line what's all going to happen to us. That's going to have to be paid for one day, and I don't want to have to put that burden on someone else. That's kind of how I look at things. So
I
you
lost
got it.
a
Yeah, go ahead.
I lost an aunt back in 2021, and she had no life insurance at all. Her children couldn't afford to do anything. So what my sister set up was to have the city cremate her, and then we all put in money to buy her ashes back. That's where, and my dad sold life insurance my whole life when I was growing up. He was back in the time when you did your, you had a route.
Yep.
But my aunt, what happened with her is my reason for wanting to do it.
I run into that so often with younger people and families where the parents are sick. And I'm to the point where I just flat out ask them, sort of like if I got together with you, you told me you had a 90-year-old, 1-year-old mother taking care of her, and I would say, hey, so do you have a plan in place to pay for her final expense? So many of them will say exactly what you did. No, we never thought about that. We couldn't afford it. Now they have to figure out where the money's going to come from. And, some of the kids in the family might be doing better. So do they pay more? What if you don't have any money? How do you come up with the money to pay for a loved one's final expense and give them a decent service? That's what we can do. We can offer. As long as we offer, we should feel good about that. So, Suzanne, or Amanda or Samuel, anybody else? Anybody else have any stories or questions or thoughts to add to the group? All right.
Sorry,
Again,
I was trying to unmute also. I started in the business 20 years ago with life insurance. So that's where I started. Now I've, like you said, ventured out to all these other things. And now life insurance is on the back burner for me, unfortunately. So really the past couple of years, I've started bringing it back in and asking everybody, do you have life insurance? I mean, you can send them all kinds of little things. One of the biggest things I was told was, don't think with my wallet. Oh, someone's loud. Don't think with my wallet, think with theirs.
Yep.
Because they may be able to afford way more than you think, but even if they have something, and on the first call, the other thing I wanted to tell you again was also, because I think a lot of these people weren't on there, talk to everybody on my cry list. And what that means is if somebody would die that you know and you would cry, you should be talking to them about life insurance.
No, it's the mindset. I'm glad you just brought that up. But I'm at a Rudy, so if it's a little loud, that may be me. But yeah, I see that all the time. I was talking about that earlier. Go through all this training, and I hear people talk about stacking all the time. So what happens, whether it's an over or under 65 person, we give them everything under the sun, and they take it all except life insurance. And then a year or two from now, they call and say, "Hey, Kevin, I know we're paying for all this insurance every month, but my spouse just passed away. How much life insurance do I have?" Well, I'm sorry, I forgot to bring that up. Well, it's kind of what Suzanne was just saying. It's the mindset. I always call it the Eric Jan's method. He told us at a meeting one time, whenever he gives a quote, it doesn't matter what kind of quote, he has a life insurance option every single time. And they might say, "I'm not interested, I already have it," but the whole purpose is to open the conversation about life insurance because people are gonna age in and out of certain type of insurance, and life insurance is gonna be there forever. So mindset, and I'm glad you brought it up. So very, very good. Anybody else have
Hey,
any
Kevin.
thoughts? Samuel? Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin, I just got a question. Are you part of the integrity group?
What do you mean part of it?
Well, integrity marketing. Are you affiliated with them?
If you're asking if North American is part of them, owned by them, the answer is no. We're an independent FMO. However, the answer is yes, and I don't have the exact details. I know some of our business contracts are somehow related to them, but I'm not sure exactly what. But North America, if that's what you're asking, yeah, we're still a complete independent FMO, and we're one of the few left. That's what Andy and G always say anyway, which is a good thing in my opinion.
Okay.
Did that answer your
And
question?
yeah, and so is this more remote than face to face?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up too. Personally, well, we have people like Lynn Tim, Emily was talking about, and some of our other high producing people, and just people in general that all they do is remote. Very, very seldom do they do face to face. Me, I do a combination. I probably do 65 remote and the rest in person because I work with a lot of middle to lower income people. And in some cases, in those situations, they might not have a way to do things remote. So sometimes, like today, I got a couple appointments today after this call. I have to see people in person. There's people that I know in this industry, and again, Lynn is one of them. They prefer to be remote. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm licensed, like I said, in 32 states, and of course, I do all that remote. So for me, it's a mix. For some people, it is 100% remote. Yes.
So I'm pretty new to this remote. Mainly mine's been face to face. I'm
Yep.
trying to get away from that. So how do you get your leads remote?
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the things that I was going to talk about as far as sources, in my opinion. And we're going to start doing more deep dives into actual carriers and products starting next week with Andy. But I think initially when we do these calls, we have to address the things you're talking about. And one of them is marketing and branding and networking. And in my opinion, they're kind of all together. As you can see by my background, I'm in a restaurant in Texas. It's called Rudy's. It's a barbecue place. I met with a group this morning. It's a B&I group. They meet from 8:30 to 10. I am in also a Wednesday morning virtual B&I group. I'm in two chambers. I'm in a Rotary. I'm in another group. And the reason I bring all that up, that's a part of marketing, and that's how I develop my leads. In the old days, and it's still available, I used to spend a ton of money on leads. And I'm glad you brought that up because we just talked about leads yesterday, and I'll mention that to you guys. I don't buy a lot of leads anymore. My opinion is not as quality as they used to. So, and we'll get some ideas from other people, but how I develop leads is through networking. I've spent a ton of money over the years on marketing and leads and having companies do, social media and all. None of that really works for me. What I have found is by joining these groups, some of them are very little to join. The BNI is like $1,200 a year, but you build relationships and you start getting referrals. And I have really started getting the majority of my business from referrals from these groups. That's how I get my leads. As far as actual leads, we have a vendor now, and you can purchase leads depending on how much you want to spend. You can get exclusive leads, which you never even know if they're exclusive anymore. They're expensive, which means they might be $75 a lead. And supposedly they're supposed to be just you. You're the only one getting that lead. Well,
Yeah, I've
I
heard
have
that
found that's
before.
not the case. So, and then we have this type of lead program where they're $5 leads. And these are people that have responded to mailers. Now, they may or may not have an aid and help them, but I mean, for $5, it's worth calling and texting and calling again just to try to get some business that way. I mean, I'm pretty involved with a church I was going to, and I asked the pastor to make an announcement to have a meeting, which we did. And there's some people that showed up for that. I got some business that way. So I guess what I'm saying is there is no right answer for leads. There's no exact answer. You could spend money on leads. I don't do that anymore. I really don't think that is very advantageous to me. So how in the past have you developed leads yourself?
Well, I purchased leads and, found out that, spending $900 a week for 25 leads, it's it is ridiculous, and it's going up even more. So, I do the square. So if I'm at someone's house that, I paid $30 for a lead and they're not home, or, I get a no, I go, next door, both sides and across the street. Um, it's still not really the best. And, that's why I'm trying to figure out, if I'm going to remote, how am I going to generate these leads? Cause I got to make some money. I got to get some income coming in. Yeah, you talk about building relationships and joining these clubs and everything, but that takes time.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no doubt. Yes, it does. So here's what I would suggest with that for immediate returns, possibly. Matter of fact, I used to work for a company called Combined Insurance. I worked there for 13 years. And one of the things you're talking about, we used to call it the T system. Same thing. You would go to the house you're at, go to the house on each side across the street. I got a bunch of door hangers made. So if I'm in those situations now, I can just leave door hangers if I need to. So that's another way to do it. Scouring neighborhoods if you want to do that, leaving door hangers, cards, different things like that. But as far as immediate, social media, probably making yourself a Facebook page. It doesn't cost anything. And one of our carriers, America, you can actually market through them. They have pre-made ads to run and compliant ads, whether it's Medicare, whether it's final expense or whatever you want to sell. That's probably the most inexpensive, quickest way is to do some type of social media. You can attach it to whatever social media link you like best. But okay, that's just my thoughts. Emily, Wanda, anybody, Suzanne, what's working for you guys as far as leads, developing leads, getting potential prospects, especially if you're working remotely? What's working for you guys? Or anybody?
Well, again, I've never bought a lead, not one time in my life. All of mine is just really community marketing. And you can and I'm involved with BNI and Chamber also, which it takes time to build those relationships, yes, but those relationships go on and on and on. And you're either spending money on a lead that you don't know if it's going to happen, or you're spending time in the community for no money or little money. Just like you said, Facebook, joining all the Facebook groups that are free, just asking questions. Anyone want to know something about life insurance? Doing a seminar at a library. These are all things that people don't want to do, but I find personally, those are the people who are going to stick with you. Sometimes people will find, and not, it hasn't happened to me, but I don't buy the leads, but if you buy a lead and you sign somebody up and you don't have any sort of relationship with them, next time they see a fancy lead, they're going to call that person,
Yes.
you know. So building relationships, getting referrals from people, and asking every single person that you do business with if they could get you in contact with somebody who might need something that they need.
Just real quick on the leads. I mean, lead companies, they're getting fewer and fewer. A lot of them are digital. Some of them still do mailers. But here, I mean, every day when I check my mailbox, probably 95% of what I get is junk mail. And if it was a mailer to some type of insurance, I probably wouldn't even look at it. You get calls, they'll call and they'll say, hey, live transfer, stuff like that. They're expensive. But same thing. I mean, when's the last time you saw a number on your phone, if you didn't recognize, you picked it up? I mean, very few people are gonna pick up the phone anymore because they're afraid of scammers and all that type thing. And if people are interested in a life insurance or whatever, and you don't answer the phone, and if they don't answer the phone, it's gonna be hard to build a relationship that way. What Suzanne said is so important. Doesn't matter what type of, I mean, if you're getting involved in these groups in the community, which is what I'm doing more and more of, it does take time and it takes patience. If you need immediate money, I don't know, maybe leads are the way to go. But again, if you buy 10 leads at $75 a piece, I mean, there's no guarantee they're gonna work out. So I don't know. I mean, there is no exact answer. I just know what's worked for me through trial and error. It does take patience and it does take times to develop. Now, as far as remote, what works for me best remote is referrals. I have a newsletter that goes out to my current client base, and I get a lot of referrals from people. And then, of course, I get referrals from people in these different groups I'm in as well. But in a perfect world, if you could just work off referrals, that doesn't cost anything, and you can definitely call them immediately. So that's just another way to look at it. Anybody else, what may be working for you as far as developing leads and prospects, leading to quotes? Anybody else have any ideas or thoughts?
I've never bought a lead or advertised. I tell everybody I talk to, I give them cards and ask them to refer me, and they do it.
And I'm glad you brought that up. I sat through a session a couple of weeks ago, and it was another BNI group I visited, and the guy was talking about that. People do all this fancy marketing and all these different ways, and he said at the end of the day, one of the best ways to advertise yourself, your service, and your business is cards. You can buy business cards, and you have to make it look appealing. You have to make it where it's a quality. He talked about the type of paper and can a person feel it. All these different things about the importance of a business card. You can get 1,000 business cards for what, $45? And that is 1,000 that you can hand out. Every place you go in your community has a stack of business cards, different businesses need. That's just always very inexpensive or no expense at all to get your name out there. And I know you can do billboards and commercials and radio shows, newspapers. That's all expensive. But it is branding and it does take patience and time for that. So, and I'm glad you brought that up because again, I hand out a ton of business cards every single day. Anybody else have any thoughts or ideas about marketing, getting in front of people, developing prospects maybe quickly, if that's a thing? Anybody at all?
Spoke to Andy the other day, and I went to the Chamber of Commerce out here in
Yep.
my local area. So at 1 o'clock today, I have a food pantry that they refer me to. I'm gonna
That is
go.
another, that's a good
Yes.
one. Yeah, I mean, depending on the type of insurance you do, food pantries, there's a place in Grand Prairie, the town I'm in, called United Charities. And again, it's for lower income people, and they let me go there whenever I want, and you can just talk to the people about different types of insurance. There are so many ways in your community that you can get yourself and service out there and start building your brand and your presence. And it doesn't cost you any money at all. You can be guests at the chamber groups and the Rotary groups and all these different things. So that's another really good one. Anybody else, any thoughts that works for somebody that maybe hasn't been talked about yet? I will give you a couple more. Somebody had mentioned it on his phone. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of insurance. Some people think if you contact your friends and family, it's like a multi-level marketing networking thing. Well, it's not with life insurance. Every single person you know in your life, whether it's a neighbor, friend, family, whatever, they need life insurance. If they're married, if they have kids, if they have a house, if they have whatever, if they have an income, all of that stuff needs to be protected somehow. I think one of the biggest intimidation factors for an agent, not even new agents, but agents that haven't sold life insurance, is just bringing it up. Well, life insurance is part of life planning. And, whether you watch YouTube videos or you see Facebook posts or whatever, there's groups, Facebook groups, that's all they talk about is life insurance. They don't offer anything else. They don't talk about anything. It's just life insurance. Join those groups. And look at some of the ways that people are succeeding in the business, not just life insurance, but insurance in general. But in a perfect world for me, community marketing and networking and referrals, if I could just develop enough business with those things, then I wouldn't have to ever buy, which I haven't in a long time, buy leads or anything else. Well, leads are available. And if you guys want to contact me, I can tell you a couple different sources we have through North American that are affordable. And but again, it's a gamble. It doesn't matter what level lead you buy. So anybody else, any thoughts, any comments on how to develop leads and business and prospects? Well, here's a couple other things I'm going to mention again. So important. If you're not part of North American, you can email me. I'll give you my email and I'll show you how to become part of the group. And then the next step after being contracted with North American is what carriers do you need? I'll give you, like I said earlier, I can tell you the ones that the three carriers I mentioned, America, Mutual, Omaha, Gerber, have every life insurance product you could think of, in addition to many other products that people want, whether it's long-term care, disability, Medicare, whatever, same carriers. At some point, and again, it costs a little money, different states cost different money, get non-res licensed in some surrounding states that you're in. The ones that I have a program that we're really focusing on big time now is Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, South Carolina. I mean, I picked Oklahoma and Texas only because I live in Texas. I got a bunch of clients in Oklahoma, but I used to live in South Carolina, and I know that whole area down there. And then the other thing is product knowledge, guys. And we're going to start really diving into that more next week. Every carrier that I just mentioned has excellent training aids. They have videos, they have material you can get. I can get you in touch with the representative that we have that has that particular company and carrier, and they'll do one-on-ones with you. We're going to start having more visitors on these calls to talk about those things. So YouTube, if you just get on YouTube and Google life insurance, you'd be amazed how much knowledge you can find on that. How do you get referrals? What's the quickest way to sell life insurance if you have a low budget? Every single thing that you could possibly want information on, there's somewhere on social media, that, whether it's Google or YouTube, whatever, to find it out there. I'm always available. I'm going to give you guys my contact information. If I don't know the answer, I won't BS you. I'll either find out or I'll point you in the right direction. So real quick, my phone number is, again, my name's Kevin Ristow. My phone number, my direct phone number is 214-952-6339. I do have a North American email, but which I check at least once or twice a day, but you can send direct to my personal, my business email, which is Kevin, K-E-V-I-N, at Ristow Insurance, R-I-S-T-A-U insurance.com. Any questions you have, any information you need, If we can't figure it out by email, we can definitely talk on the phone. But again, the most important thing about life insurance is just getting going. You have to get, like Emily said at the beginning, you have to get the appointment, you have to get the carriage, you have to get the contracts. You have to figure out what area, you have to figure out what your marketing plan is. You have to have a blueprint for your success. And then the biggest reason is, why do you want to sell life insurance? For me, it's easy. To protect lives and to make money. I mean, there's really good money in life insurance. I wish I had a million other reasons, but that's the two most important things for me. So with that being said, every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Time is this call. We'll be growing week by week. We're going to start having more and more guests. Next week will be a special guest, extra special guest. It'll be Andy Dastner, which is the president of North American. And the reason I would be on it next week for Andy, in addition to, you know, him being the president of this company, you can ask him whatever you want, but Andy is an awesome leader, but he's also a great multitasker, and he is one of the highest personal producers in this company, which includes life insurance. So, I mean, how do you run a company this size, an FMO this size, and how are you one of the top personal producers? How do you manage your time and priorities, and how are you such a great multitasker? Those are things I'd be asking him next week. I pick his brain all the time about that stuff. So, any other comments, questions, thoughts before we take off? Well, I appreciate you.
Who was
everyone
the
being.
third?
Go
Kevin,
ahead, go
sorry,
ahead.
you
Yes.
said America, Mutual of Omaha, and who else?
Yes, Americo, Mutual of Omaha, and Gerber. Why do I like Gerber? Well, they're a guarantee issue policy company. So if we have a client, whether it's Americo, now Americo and Mutual both have what they call like a modified graded policy if they don't qualify for the level, which is day one. But if they don't even qualify for that, you go straight to Gerber. It's $5,000 to $25,000 of guarantee issue whole life insurance. And real quick, the way that works is whatever amount you pick, you get, you lock in the face value, you lock in the premium. It does build cash value for the first 24 months. If the insured passes away, the beneficiary gets all the premiums plus 10%. 24 months and 1 day later, they're covered 100% for the policy. The premium's a little higher to start with, you know, for a like product level, but it's just good to have in there because there's so many people you'll meet that say, well, I have the heart problem, or I have a lot of health conditions, I can't get anything. You know, you'd be surprised. So it's just a good go-to product. And they also offer different types of term, children's insurance, college funds. They have a ton of different policies they offer. But I would encourage all you guys to get not only appointed with these carriers, but then visit their sites. And if you need help navigate them, either I can help you or the rep can help you. And that way you'll be familiar. The quoting system, somebody had brought that up at the beginning. I think it was Emily. It's very important that we get familiar with the sites, not only for product knowledge, but to show them so we can get to the quote real quick. We can do the e-application in the correct manner. So there's lots of different ways that we can benefit from having multiple carriers. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Good news? All right. Well, hey, I'll see you guys next week. I appreciate it. 45 minutes, these calls. I mean, when we first started, I don't know how long some of the other calls are taking, but you know, if we're on these calls for 45 minutes and you got good substance, and I think it helps. So anyway, you guys have a great day. If anybody needs me, call me or email me. Appreciate you being on. Have a good day.